The pick is in.
The Denver Broncos have made a selection in the 2024 NFL Draft. Alongside Locked On College Football host Spencer McLaughlin, I'm Tanitra Batiste, and we are joined by Cody Roark of Locked On Broncos to break down the Broncos selecting Bo Nix with the number 12 pick. Now, Cody, the Broncos just traded for Zach Wilson from the Jets a couple days ago, so were you surprised to see them take a QB at 12?
No, not necessarily. I even said it after Zach Wilson was traded to Denver that this shouldn't eliminate quarterback from being the round one consideration because Jarrett Stidham, Ben DiNucci, Zach Wilson, they don't have any contract length past 2024. Plus, you get a young quarterback in here who's got 4 years with the fifth-year option. You can build a foundation around him. Sean Payton thought the same exact thing here. Now Bo Nix, he's a Denver Bronco.
Now, speaking of Sean Payton, some consider him to be a bit of a quarterback whisperer. So that said, what do you think he sees or saw in Bo Nix to maybe make him think that he could be the guy who might be that best fit under center after the Broncos decided to move on from Russell Wilson?
Well, he's a very cerebral quarterback. I mean, he's been a guy who's experienced different offensive coordinators almost every year of his college career, has handled that transition well this past year. 4,500 yards passing, 45 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, plus several touchdowns on the ground. But we talked to Bo Nix shortly after he was drafted here in Dove Valley, and one thing that he told us was that Sean Payton, they held a workout for him after his pro day, a private workout. They sent him a bunch of material. He processed all the material really well, and it blew the coaches away when they met with him. Then they went out on the field and did some throwing drills where that's where the Broncos were convinced, hey, Bo Nix is the guy that we want ahead of guys like J.J. McCarthy and some of the other quarterbacks in this year's class. So Sean Payton did a lot of background work here on Bo. Bo put in a lot of work, and the two seem like a really good pair right now on paper.
Now, what do you see as maybe the upside for Nix, but also what are some of the areas where you think he'll need to improve if the Broncos look to have him game ready for week one?
Well, I think the upside here with Bo, he's a processor. He sees things really well. I think there's going to be an advantage. He's going to be reuniting with his college center, obviously Alex Forsyth from a couple years ago. But on top of that, he's also a guy who can diagnose coverages at the line of scrimmage. He gets the ball out of his hands quickly. Now, maybe some areas he can improve, and this is going to be a challenge here in the National Football League, is defenses are a little bit faster. They're a little more stingier. How can he maybe slow things down a little bit? I think that you're going to see a balance at times. He's a quick processor, gets the ball out of his hands quickly, but you're going to see teams throw different disguised looks at him. And how is he going to handle that? How is he going to handle pressure? I mean, the Broncos offensive line has to perform significantly better this year if they're going to have a chance to win. But these are things we have to keep an eye on here for Bo Nix. But there's going to be competition as well. It's not just going to be handed to him. He's going to compete with Jarrett Stidham and more than likely Zach Wilson for that job.
For more on the Broncos, subscribe to Locked On Broncos on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, Spencer, we've seen what we thought we were going to see, which is runs, right? We thought we would see a run on O-linemen, and we've seen it on tackles. We thought we'd see one on receivers. We've seen it on receivers. And now it seems like all the quarterbacks that we thought we'd see have essentially been selected within those first 12 spots. How do you feel like Bo Nix kind of compares? Is this where you saw him going as far as where he landed in this first round?
Well, I talked a long time ago on Locked On Ducks about how I thought the Broncos were a perfect fit because it is a perfect fit. You look at the way that Sean Payton and Drew Brees executed that offense for such a long time and so successfully. That all plays to Bo Nix's strengths. Stay in the pocket, facilitate, execute, read defenses, beat teams on the whiteboard or in the classroom, and just understand why a play is being called, what coverage you're getting, where the weaknesses are. Do all of that and don't try and force the ball down the field. He is very different from Michael Penix, who wants to take those deep shots, who wants to push the ball down the field. It's not that Bo Nix can't do that, but his greatest strength is between the ears. He's got an ability to read defenses and know, and certainly there will be an adjustment at the NFL level with the way they disguise coverages and throw different looks at you, but his biggest strength this past year, when he set the NCAA single season completion percentage record in college football at just over 77.4%, his biggest strength was looking at a defense, knowing the play and knowing, oh, okay, ball's going to go here, get the ball out on time. He's a very accurate passer of the football. That's why this is such a perfect marriage. I'm stoked to watch Bo Nix in Denver.
For continuing coverage of the 2024 NFL Draft, subscribe to Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.